Hello, my name is Jordan Taylor. Welcome to the first instructional video tutorial on CSC-251 Advanced Java Programming. These tutorials will assume you have a working JDK and IDE of your choice, or at least know how to obtain both. I myself, for the most part, will be using Eclipse and Terminal. As a note, this video will not actually need either of those, but you will need them for later videos. This is the first video on this subject, and today's topic will be strings. We'll be going over creating, concatenating, formatting, comparing, and searching strings. Strings are a sequence of characters assigned to a string object. You can make a new string using string h equals hello, or, for example, string h equals new string hello. While it's possible to use a character array to achieve something similar, these are in fact not the same and should not be treated as such. In this example, this one character array test is not the same as the string test. What you can do is assign a character array to a new string. Otherwise, if you try comparing them or using them as if they were the same, it will not work. Strings are one of the most basic of Java classes. You will use them constantly and they're very easy to work with. We're going to go over some of the basic functions and uses, and the first one is going to be concatenate, or another word for combining strings. There are two main ways you can do this. The first is to use the plus operator, as you see above, or you can use the concat function. These will end up doing the same thing, but the concat is more powerful. You will most likely be using the plus operator most often, but if you had, for example, a character array that you needed to add to another string, you would have to use concat instead. Both of these examples will have the exact same output, and that'll be hello world. Formatting is one of the most useful options available for strings. You've probably seen something similar with printf, and in this case, that is exactly how this works. In this, %s is a placeholder for another string. You could use %d for an integer or %f. In this case, h1, our end result is that the string h2 becomes hello world. Being able to compare strings is very important and is probably something that you'll use quite often. It's important to realize that as strings are objects, you cannot use the equal operator to compare them. What that will do is end up comparing the objects instead of the string contents themselves. Instead, if you've got two exact strings, such as in here, string h1 equals hello and string h2 equals hello, and if you can try comparing them with the equals operator, it will be false because the objects are not the same. Instead, what you would have to do is h1 equals h2, using the equals function. That will return true because that compares the actual content of the strings. Not that you should have much use for this, but comparing string literals can use the equals operator. As you can see, hello equals hello is also true, although I don't know why you would ever have to do this. Our final topic of today is searching strings. There are a number of different ways to do this. We're going to go over two of them. The first is using the index of function. This function returns the first index of the character or string you pass it. If the search is unsuccessful, the result will be -1. The second method we're going to use is contains. This won't give you an index, but it will return a true or false boolean based on whether the string was found. There are different situations where you would use these different methods. If you don't care where a substring or character is, you'd be fine with just using contains. If you need more fine control than that, and possibly if you want to change the string afterward, index of is more useful. To explain these examples, the first one will result in I being 0, since h is at the 0 index in the string h. The second example is searching using a substring instead of a character, and that will return 1 because the first instance of EL is at index 1 in the string. The third example uses the Boolean method and will return true because EL is indeed inside string H. That's all for today. I highly advise you to take a look at the Java docs. There are tons of string functions that you'll likely find use of in your future coding endeavors. This concludes the first video tutorial. We've gone over what strings are and how to use them in your code, along with some of the more important functions. Our video next week will discuss basic GUIs with swing and AWT. Until then, thanks for watching.